Hey guys, I hope you're good. On my newest video, Jordan has a question. So she says, um, that she doesn't have extreme hunger anymore, but still she wants to eat all the time, and like food is on her mind all the time, so that's why she eats. And she's really confused about whether she should eat, even though she doesn't have like physical hunger. And I already told her that yes, she should eat because mental hunger is just as important or like the same sign as physical hunger. But then again, she's like, I'm doing this thing where I'm full. 5 minutes later, I'm like, I want to eat all the food, but not really because it's all mental. It's just kind of weird because I can feel the energy in my body and it feels like too much, but I just want all the food. Also, I might have no appetite all day and only eat like two things because foods sound disgusting for a day, but then the rest of the days I want to eat everything inside feels gross. And then again, just taste hunger because just casually wanting a food because intuitive coaches say rate your hunger, and I'm obviously not hungry. So yeah, girl, I feel you. Sometimes I'm still like that actually, like, I feel like I'm full and I don't need food. I mean, now maybe not that much anymore, but after extreme hunger went away, yes. I mean, most days I felt kind of full and kind of like, yeah, like, yes, it's enough, but then if you still kind of are craving, no matter how it is, like, if you want food, then you need to eat it because for me, I mean, there's different definitions of of mental hunger, but for me, even thinking about food, like starting to think about, like that meal is really nice, like I used to really like it and blah blah blah. If it just pops up in your mind, like anything to do with food or even to do with exercise, etc., usually it has to do with hunger in recovery. I mean, later on, maybe less, but I think in recovery, really take everything as a sign for hunger and just keep eating. You have zero to lose. Um, and I would not trust these intuitive eating coaches, except when their intuitive eating is like just eat whatever the hell you want to, don't rate anything. I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes it helps me to think about how our ancestors were like. So, for example, imagine I don't know how it's called, but before the Middle Age, people, do you think there was a beauty standard? I don't think that much, like as much as now, because they were so isolated. Like there were maybe 30 people, so they couldn't even have a standard because there were so little people. So they didn't care about what they looked like, right? And so also food was kind of limited. So whenever someone was hungry, they would just eat, or whenever they were craving something and there was food available, they would eat. They wouldn't think about like, how much have I eaten today? Have I exercised enough? Blah blah blah. Like, have I whatever? Like, literally, they did not think about how much and when and what to eat. They just ate whatever was there and whatever sounded good to them. And that's exactly how you should live and how I live now. Like the purpose of recovery is not to properly like learn how to evaluate your hunger and then eat according to that. No, recovery is really putting trust into that whatever you're craving, whatever pops up in your mind, you should eat because there's a reason why it pops up in your mind, and you're maybe confused like, oh, I already gained weight, like it's already been a few months since I went all in, blah blah blah, like why should I keep eating that much? Well, I don't know exactly about your recovery, but for me it lasted a really really long time until I properly stopped being so hungry. Um, I think after extreme hunger went away, I still had many months where, yes, some days I wasn't very hungry, but then a few days again I was super hungry. I ate all day, or I ate huge amounts for like whatever. So it's really, there's no structure in eating, and that's okay. But still, if I were you, try to eat quite regularly on the days where you don't feel that hungry. Like, still eat some snacks, show your body, like, I'm feeding you. But other than that, really don't think too much about whether you should eat or not. Just eat. Like, if you feel even 1% like you should eat, then eat. That's what I learned in recovery. That really it's always better to eat more. I don't know. Now it helps me because in recovery, oftentimes I felt like I was about to explode and I ate a lot, even though I wanted to. Like, I always felt like maybe it was too much, like I'm really hot and I feel really bloated. But nowadays, I kept on doing the same mindset, like just eat whenever I crave something and however much I crave. And now it's always the perfect amount. Like I barely ever, I think maybe 5 months ago, the last time I felt really bloated or overly full. But other than that, I just trust my hunger signals so much because I always did during recovery that they also now don't feel the need to send me too many hunger signals. You know what I mean? Like, I think in recovery, just body is testing you. Body needs extremely, extremely high amounts of energy. That's why you're eating so much and you feel so full. But over time, and give it many months, like it's not gonna be in 1 month, it will normalize a lot and you won't have that happen to you anymore. Don't be worried. This stage definitely exists. I had it too. That very often I was eating even though I wasn't like hungry according to whatever rules, but I still wanted to eat and I still ate. And it turned out to be a really good decision because finally I learned that I can just trust my cravings, and then my body also learned that it doesn't have to send me that many hunger signals. I just immediately follow whatever hunger signal I get. You know what I mean? So yeah, for me it worked out to just eat whenever I even had the slightest thought of food or drink. Um, yeah, so that's what I'm suggesting you. And again, for the days where you feel like you're not that hungry, I would still try to eat a little bit. Like, not that you should sit down and have a huge meal, but really make time at least 4 times a day to just sit down and eat something you're gonna eat, maybe like a bowl of cornflakes or something like that. At least try. Like, you can always leave the food, but I would still try to, because all extremes, not all extremes, but the in recovery you need the extreme of overeating, but you cannot allow yourself days where you eat very little. I think it's the opposite of beneficial for your body, so always try to eat a lot. That's what I can tell you about that. I'm just checking if there's anything else. And okay, you're saying like even if I have the tiniest desire to eat or thought of food, I basically eat. Honestly, I think you do have a desire because I cannot explain why you will want to eat if you don't desire to eat. Maybe you just try to tell yourself like, oh no, actually I'm not really desiring to eat because you're kind of like you wanna stop eating that much because you're still scared of something. That's the only way I can explain it to myself, because why would you wanna go and eat if you don't like even a tiny bit want to? Maybe it's not very consciously, but subconsciously I'm guessing you do have a desire to eat. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to me. But no matter if you have a conscious desire to eat or not, I would still go and eat like you're doing now. Just keep on doing it. It's gonna become less and less. Don't worry about that. Yeah. So that's what I have to say. I hope it could help a little bit. I'm kind of confused about it. Yeah, but in the end, no matter what it is, just eat. Like, if you can, eat as much as possible. And that's gonna really, really make the progress very quick, especially if you combine it with no movement. That's another important thing. Like, yes, eating as much as possible, great, but then also think of not moving, because it's kind of gonna not be full recovery if you still do exercise or a lot of movement. So yeah, bye.